Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really thrilled to be here in Warsaw with you today. First of all, because the Warsaw Security Forum is a unique conference. The list of attendants is more than impressive, and I look forward to the panel discussion as well as numerous bilateral meetings. I'm equally thrilled to be here in Warsaw to send a strong message of our support to Poland and to our Eastern allies in the face of Russia's aggression. The most recent manifestations of this aggression were Russian drones and fighter jets that entered Polish and Estonian airspace 2 weeks ago. This is unacceptable. It is a violation of international law, and it is an irresponsible provocation in times of already heightened tensions. And that is why it is suitable for causing very dangerous misunderstandings. These acts have shown us once more Russia is becoming more and more of a threat to NATO. It is testing NATO allies with growing frequency and intensity. Putin deliberately attempts to undermine European security and the territorial integrity of European nations. He seeks to provoke NATO member states. He wants to expose vulnerabilities within our alliance. But, ladies and gentlemen, he won't succeed. The alliance has responded to Russia's provocations with clarity, unity, resolve and prudence. We will not be lured into Putin's trap of continuous escalation. We are keeping a cool head while remaining steadfast and determined. And when needed, NATO forces stand ready, just like the jets of our allies in the Baltics that were scrambled and escorted Russian aircraft out of Estonian airspace. We will continue working together closely on strengthening our air defense. With Eastern Sentry, we are adding another layer of protection to our overall posture, to our airspace and our territory along NATO's eastern flank. Germany is contributing 4 Eurofighters to this end. I have also just decided to deploy Bundeswehr personnel equipped with counter-drone equipment to Denmark to support our northern ally in securing next week's meeting of European heads of state and government. But each and every ally needs to take a real close look at what they can do to boost air defense, especially on the eastern flank. Ladies and gentlemen, NATO partners have been facing threats, provocations and aggressions from Russia. At the same time, all this is nothing compared to the devastating situation in Ukraine after more than 3 years of Russia's war of aggression, of brutal killings of civilians, of ruthless nightly raids on Ukrainian cities, of calculated attacks on the country's lifeline infrastructure. Ukraine's story is that of a people defending its very existence from a brutal aggressor. It is the story of a nation determined to defend its identity, its dependence, its sovereignty. And it is also the story of a fight for the rules-based international order, for freedom and security in Europe, a fight for our freedom and security. During my visits to Ukraine, I have experienced firsthand the suffering of the Ukrainian people. But I have also seen just how quickly they picked themselves up by the bootstraps and continued their brave fight. Ukraine has become an example of what it means to be prepared to defend one's freedom with arms in hand if necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we Europeans must not waver in our solidarity with Ukraine. We must continue our political, financial and, of course, most importantly, our military support. Germany remains steadfast in its commitment. We are now the largest supporter of Ukraine. We are spending around 9 billion euros per year to support Ukraine in its brave fight. Russia's recent attacks with more than 580 drones and over 40 missiles have once again underlined the importance of strengthening Ukraine's air defense. And that is exactly what we are doing. Germany has delivered 3 Patriot systems. By the end of this year, we will provide 2 more advanced Patriot air defense systems with the support of our Norwegian partners. At the same time, it is our funds that are strengthening Ukraine's defense industry. On top of that, we also make sure we use available production capacities to bolster our own defenses. A robust industrial base is the foundation for defense capabilities that are meant to last. Through the European training mission EUMAM, we have already trained more than 80,000 troops. Large parts of them were trained in our multinational special training command in Strausberg and in Poland's Combined Arms Training Command in Chagrin. Germany and Poland, together with other partners, are also collaborating in a number of capability coalitions to enhance and modernize the Ukrainian armed forces. We want Ukraine to be able to deter future threats. To better address future threats to Ukraine and to Europe as a whole, Europe's and Ukraine's defense industry must work together more closely and more effectively. We all have to provide sustainable support to Ukraine, more resiliently and more forcefully than in recent months. The European Union must back this by providing a much more flexible regulatory framework for the defense industry in Europe. This is the only way to quickly scale up our production capacities and, as a consequence, our deliveries to Ukraine. This is in our very own strategic interest, as our American allies are turning more and more towards other regions and as we work towards preserving peace and collective security in Europe. In recent months, there has been much talk about peace agreements. This is something we all wish for, of course. But for now, this remains wishful thinking, because reality is unfortunately very different. Diplomatic efforts failed to bring about any meaningful breakthroughs. Russia continues to wage its illegal war against Ukraine, and it has even increased its attacks on Ukraine to an unprecedented level of brutality. All of this leaves no doubt, ladies and gentlemen. Vladimir Putin does not want a ceasefire, and he does not want peace for Ukraine. So today we must focus on empowering Ukraine and bolstering its defense. The strongest security guarantee for the moment will be world-class equipment, sufficient resources, and extensive training for the Ukraine armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, Germany continues to stand firmly by the people of Ukraine. Our goal is to see Ukraine enter into meaningful negotiations to achieve lasting peace. And for that, Ukraine must be strong. This is our responsibility as Europeans. This is a task of our time. We must and we will continue to do our part to ensure that a free Ukraine becomes an integral part of our shared European future. We must and we will continue to support Ukraine in its fight, a fight that is also a fight for our future. We must and we will do more for defense in Europe. NATO must become more European in order to remain transatlantic. This is what it takes for our continent to be whole, free, and at peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please do join me.